Welcome to the ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright, an exciting thrill ride through the wonderful world of HBCU athletics. Before our trip begins, let's set a few ground rules. First, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Second, hit the like button. Third, please be sure to tell someone else about this show. Now that we've got these things out of the way, it's time for our journey to begin. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your ride.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the ride. And boy, do we have a really nice show for you tonight. So, as we always like to say, make sure you hit that like button early and often. Make sure you subscribe. And, as I always like to get it started, we go right into the big. And we had a real loaded slate of games, so let's run through them real quick. In Durham, North Carolina, you had North Carolina. They had a nice breather, welcoming those Lynchburg Dragons from Virginia, 47-0 at the half, 439 yards to 76, and held them to minus 42 yards rushing in a 68-0 win. North Carolina Central, they've got bigger games ahead, as everybody knows. They have a bye week, and then next week they welcome Morgan State in. And then after the Morgan State game, then they got the big showdown on Halloween night in Orangeburg, South Carolina, against those South Carolina State Bulldogs. Hey, my team, Alabama A&M. It was homecoming in Huntsville, and we took down Bethune-Cookman 56-12. 701 total yards of offense. Xavier Langford was the man. He played the whole game until the fourth quarter when it was out of hand. 315 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 15 rushes, 80 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. Not to be outdone, Mr. Donovan Eaglin, 100-yard game. LaKeenan Ambrick, welcome to the show, 100-yard receiving. For the Bulldogs, it's a bye week, and then the Magic City Classic. Bethune-Cookman still waiting to get on the board, but maybe they'll have a chance next week as they head down to take on Valley. And then in the MEAC, Delaware State. They came real close to getting the win the last 2 weeks. This game was not a contest. 23-0, they go down in Moon Township, Pennsylvania, to the Robert Morris Colonials. Quarterbacks were sacked 5 times. Mr. Anthony, 224 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Delaware State held to 50 yards rushing, and every drive resulted in a punt or being stopped on downs. Delaware State, they get a bye, and then they go and have their MEAC opener at South Carolina State on the 26th. Down in Montgomery. Welcome back to the win column for those Hornets. It started off down 14-0, and people went crazy on Facebook, said, oh my goodness, the Delta Devils have gotten out good. But it's a 60-minute game, ladies and gentlemen. Kareem Key, 326 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Alabama State, they found their passing game. And guess what? That vaunted defense held Valley scoreless in the second half. So, Alabama State, bye week. Then the Magic City Classic. Valley, you get to go home, homecoming. You get Bethune-Cookman. You guys got the same record, so just maybe that's your chance to get in the win column. And Morgan State. This was a battle. Morgan State took the lead in this one late in the fourth quarter. They had a 1-point lead, 24-23. Then Merrimack battled back to take a 32-24 win there in Baltimore. Jermai Corbett, 99-yard kickoff return on the opening kickoff. And here's what's also funny. Merrimack only threw the ball 8 times the entire game. You look at the yardage that they were outgained by. 328 to 172, and they still pulled off the victory. Morgan State, it'll be back to the lab. But you can't wait too long because you're headed to Durham to take on North Carolina Central to open up MEAC play. The Friday Nighter in Pine Bluff. This was seen as a big, significant upset. The Pine Bluff Golden Lions get on the board in SWAC play with a 21-17 win over Prairie View. Makai Hagans, he was pretty solid again. 250 in the air, 1 touchdown. Javonte Gibson, we've been talking about this young man for 3 weeks now. You just can't cover him. 9 receptions, 183 yards, and another touchdown. And look at the defense. They held PV scoreless the final 19 minutes of the game. Congrats to Alonzo Hampton and his whole staff for getting on the board. All right. Now, for Prairie View, this probably ends their chances in the West. They have a bye week. And then you've got UAPB, who's going down to the hole to take on Grambling for their homecoming. More on Grambling in a bit. Howard gets in the win column, 21-17 there in D.C., taking out Sacred Heart. Jashawn Scroggins with the game-winning touchdown run. And they held Sacred Heart scoreless in the second half. Their defense turned it up, 5 sacks and a fumble recovery. So, Howard, they get their homecoming next week as they welcome Tennessee State into D.C. All right. Now, back in the SWAC here. Woo, so much to talk about with this game, and we'll get into it deeply with my guest tonight. Southern went down, and they were down in the final minute. Texas Southern, they got out 14-0 in the first half, and then things went crazy in the final few minutes. Texas Southern shanks a punt. As they shank a punt, Southern recovers. One play, Noah Biden, who literally did nothing all night, throws a touchdown to Quay Davis in the final seconds to force a tie. It goes into overtime. Texas Southern gets the ball first, misses a field goal. And then Joshua Griffin nails a kick to put the final nail in the coffin. 22-19, the Jaguars survive and get out of Houston with a win. They win despite committing 10 penalties and 3 turnovers. Texas Southern, bye week. And then you have Grambling coming in. Southern, don't celebrate too long because you got Alcorn coming to your house for your homecoming this Saturday. Norfolk State, Dawson Odom's, it's coming down towards the end for you, it looks like. They lose another tough one. Sean Brown threw 3 interceptions for Towson, but they still found a way to gut this one out. And he threw 2 TD passes to Runyon and Dawson in the fourth quarter to come from behind to take a 28-23 win there in Norfolk. Norfolk State, they get a bye week, and then they get back into MEAC play with Howard coming into Norfolk. And then the game of the day in the SWAC, down in the hole. Alcorn wins there for the first time since 2006. 17-15. Noah Kiani, 27-yard field goal with 7 seconds remaining. Malachi Bailey, Kayvon Henderson, 2 sacks each, were dominant. Miles Crawley had issues all day. Held the ball a lot in the pocket, threw a costly interception, and they just couldn't seem to get themselves going. How about Xavier Vaughn? 149 yards passing and a touchdown, a 73-yard touchdown pass. And not to be outdone, Mr. Sewell, another 100-yard rushing game and a touchdown. Alcorn, 3-0 in the SWAC. But again, a lot of work to do. Get right back on the road and head back to Louisiana next week to take on Southern. Grambling? Well, it's a season of what could have been. Next week, you got UAPB coming in for you. Homecoming. And that, everybody, is our rundown of all the games that we had. It's a lot of things that we're going to discuss, and I'm so thrilled that everybody is tuned in with me. And I'm going to welcome at this time. What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Well, damn. I'm doing good, baby. I'm doing good. What's going on, Wayne, man? Glad to be on, bro.
Hey, man, I love this, man. I love it. I love the reaction that you had yesterday as soon as the final gun went, man. I loved it, man. Y'all earned that win, my brother. I'm gonna pull this back up, man. I want you in your words. Come on, man, in your words. You talk about this game. This is your stage. Take the wheel.
Man, okay. First off, I don't want to go too far out there, but baby, that game could have been dominated. We really left a lot of meat on the bone, especially in the first half. But now we taking wins. We taking wins any way we can get them. But I was really, really, really proud of the Brave, the coaching staff. Man, they did what needed to happen. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I don't know if we've seen a winning drive like that it's been a long time since we've seen a winning drive like that. And then we put it on our kicker. We put it on his foot and he come through. Man, that was a beautiful thing, man. That was a beautiful thing, especially with the way a lot of the doggone G faithful was talking before the game. One in particular. And y'all see that on my video tonight after this.
Yeah, I know who you talk about, man. So he's been on my show before too, man. So man. Yeah, man. I know exactly what you're talking about too, because one play in particular that really sticks out to me was you guys are closing the end of the first half and you're driving. And you basically had a field goal in the bag. And Vaughn is all he's trying to do is just trying to get the snap, kill the clock. And then you guys fumble and you come away with nothing on that drive. And then it took you until that last drive to get back on the board. So that's a testament to how well your defense played in that second half.
Right. Defense came up big. Now, we've been waiting on defense all year. Now, there's a lot of talk sometimes about, offense is not giving defense chance to breathe and all of that kind of stuff. But now I've been saying all the while, our defense is good on creating turnovers, have been for a few years. But the stops just have not been there, in my opinion, just to stop them and make them punch. We have not been doing that. But the defense came up huge this time. To me, that was the breakout game for them. And I think if they can keep that momentum going on, our offense is still working and gelling. Right now, we're still a learning team. We are still a learning team. We are nowhere near where we could be. I know everybody may have, think that we have, we've gelled already and we're as good as we could be. I really don't think so. I really think this team has some more potential in them. Now, are we the most loaded team in the conference? Probably not. But we've got that heart and we've got that coaching staff that just has a knack for getting it out of them. And I'm thinking they're just learning each day. I can say this one thing. They have definitely been better every game they play. Each game they have been better. And I think that's what Coach T has been talking about the whole time. And they're doing it. So here we go.
Yeah.
Step it up.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll pull up the Alcorn schedule here, but towards the end of the segment. But now for Grambling. I know all the jokes have been aplenty, but speaking seriously now, where do you think these guys go from here?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. That could have taken some wind out, some sails right there. But now Grambling's a proud team. That's we know that forever. They've been a proud team. Now, of course, mathematically, they're not out of it. So, and this is the Wacky West. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. I'm just hoping this is the year that we don't drop one of those games that we're not supposed to. We have done it year after year. Sometimes it didn't matter. Last couple of times it did matter. So I'm hoping this is the year that we don't have that drop off like that to let a Grambling back in it, that kind of thing, because, you just don't need those type of teams back in it because they will take advantage if you let them. So I don't know where they go from here. So, but, Then their next couple of games is gonna tell it. A matter of fact, they got Pine Bluff, right, for homecoming. Is that what you said?
Yeah, here's their schedule right here. Yeah, they got Pine Bluff for homecoming.
Okay, let me tell you something. If y'all think this is just homecoming, you in trouble. Because them Pine Bluff boys are not going to play with you. You better be ready. If those Pine Bluff boys are not going to play. If you want to get back in this thing, if you Grambling and you want to get back in this thing and have a chance, you better strap it up and be ready, because them boys are not going to give you just this homecoming whatever for you just to win this game and keep going. You're going to have to fight that one. I'll just tell you now.
Yeah, and speaking of Pine Bluff, yeah, man, Friday night. Now, you guys know, because you just played them the week before, and you know they gave you all you could handle. This Giovanni Gibson and Makai Hagan's combo, man. People really, if you didn't know about them, you now know that they're serious.
Yeah. If you don't know, you gonna know. They're not gonna play with you. They're not gonna play with you. And this Prairie View now, okay. Again, my opinion. You know, I leave that analysis up to you and G and all those fellas. You know, I just come up on the ring and tell you what happened. But Prairie View, I didn't bite into the hype at the beginning of the season with Prairie View. Now, did I think they should have been picked to win before us? Yes, I did. But the hype that they were going to be this dominant team, I never thought that. So even with this win from UAPB over Prairie View, I'm not really surprised at all. I think Pine Bluff is better than what we give them, and I don't think Prairie View is as powerful as we thought they were going to be. So, you know, but now we still got to play them, and I already know what they can do. So I don't want to put too much on that. But it's just what it is in the West. The West, you just don't know. There's nothing anybody can sit around and say that this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen in the West. Now in the East, you pretty much might be right on target in the East. But the West, no. That game is played on the field. Not in anybody's analysis booth. It's on the field. That's right.
And now, sticking in the West, man, I said that we would get into this one. Man, I was like, wow, all right, Texas Southern, 19-12 lead. I was like, okay, they got it. And then all of a sudden, I was like, how does this happen? That shank punt. And then one play, like I said, Noah Biden, you look at his numbers, 13 for 32 passing. Couldn't get anything going all night. They didn't run it well. They didn't throw it well. You saw they committed 10 penalties and 3 turnovers. If you looked at all the numbers with a blind test, you would have never thought Southern would have been able to stay in this game like they did.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Wayne. There's 4 teams in this conference that I know that I am not surprised when that type of thing happens. That's Southern, Grambling, Jackson State, FAMU, and matter of fact, I say 5, and the Braves. Those 5 teams, you can pack it in if you want to. If you're in that situation, they will come back and get you. Southern did that to us a couple of years ago. Same situation. Pretty much dominating the game. Then all of a sudden we go cold. Next thing you know, they kicking it through the uprights with the clock running out and winning that game. That didn't surprise me either. Not the fact that they won the game, but or came back to win the game, but just that they didn't quit. It didn't surprise me at all. That's just gonna happen in the West.
Yeah, and if you're Texas Southern in this one, I mean, you know, clock management was something that was a bit of an issue in this one. Now, obviously, hindsight is 2020. A lot of people were saying, well, maybe they should have just taken the intentional safety and just, kicked it back off to them. But even still, there's still, you have to find a way to execute and close out games. And as we know, no lead in the SWAC is ever safe.
Yeah, no.
Never.
No, not at all. I mean, and at some point, you really you got to be able to depend on your defense to hold that lead, to keep them off of you, But hey, the offense gets hot at any time, especially if your offense stalls, it gives the other offense all kinds of confidence. So that's just what it is. So those things you just got to avoid. You got to keep moving the ball and getting first downs, because if you don't, that other offense is going to think, hey, they can't score, so we get loose, and we'll go try to get it.
That's right. And so now we look at the Alcorn schedule, and you see the one on 10/19, the very next game, as you turn right back around and head back to the state of Louisiana. It's going to be homecoming down there in Southern. And you guys know that this game between them and yourselves is for the lead in the West. Set it up for us, man.
Okay, here's the thing. Now, some of my Alcornites might not like me saying this, but I don't care. Y'all know I don't care nothing about it. All right, but I think we had to win that game at Grambling to have the confidence that we need going into this game at Southern. There's a lot of stuff going on when you talk about that game. You talk about it's their homecoming. And there has been this little bit of a rivalry brewing between the Braves and Southern for a little while. And now you talking about this is the first time that we facing Coach Mack over at Southern. So there's going to be a lot of emotions, a lot of stuff getting talked about. Players on both teams will have to keep their emotions in check. And I think the one that does that the best will probably come out victorious in this game. Southern, they have been on their ups and downs the whole season thus far. Alcorn, I would say we started off not doing what we thought we should, and we have progressed every game since then. So we're kind of in the same boat there. It's going to be a battle of who shows up and executes in this game. But I think we really needed to win that game last week to even really have a really good chance in this game. I think if we had let Grambling get away with that game last week, it would have been way too many questions in our minds to be able to focus enough to go in there and take care of these Jaguars. So this is going to be a battle, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you look at this schedule, you guys don't have any weeks off.
We got nothing.
If you're gonna get to the SWAC championship game, you definitely gonna earn this one. Because there is not a single off week in this schedule.
Not one. And look, it's kind of been like that for us historically the past few years, except for the fact that there may be in the past there may have been a game that okay, we got this one, but then that would just be the one that we drop, but now that game is not there. That game that we go in way too confident, that's not even there. So I'm actually kind of liking that, because game by game so far, the Braves have risen to the occasion. Now you can say Valley, hey, we pretty much got them. Well, not really. So, and we didn't play as well as I think we should have, but we rose up to the occasion there. But first half wasn't that great, and we, came on back and we improved in the second half and won the game. Pine Bluff, same thing. They jumped out us so quick. I'm like, here we go. But they rose up. I'm talking about a serious rise. That second half was just domination. The Grambling game, we actually kind of did a 360 on you. We came out killing, and if it had maintained the like it was, that could have got ugly, But then when they tightened it up, man, the body language on our players, I was not feeling good. We had hobbling players on and off the field. It just wasn't looking good, but they found it within themselves to come out and, do what needed to be done right there at the end. And they did it with a good fashion. Now, again, the rest of the way out, that's all that is battles like that. There ain't nothing we gonna say that's promised to us, because any one of them can drop us at any time if we're not on our game. But our game, I'm thinking we can do it.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna get you out of here on this one. Now I'll pull up. You know what? I don't want to upset here you see my FAMU folks, but I'm gonna switch it to this one because they're the home team. Okay. This is where the game is on Saturday. The other big game in the SWAC on Saturday. All right. You see Jackson State is going to host FAMU. What are your thoughts about that game, man? How you see that going?
Okay, so now, Wayne, you got me out my element. You got me out my element. I don't do predictions. I don't try to say who going to do what to who. But I'm going to tell you, that is a big game. You've heard talk on the SWAC that both of these teams are probably not as great as they think they are, right? But at the end of the day, that don't matter. That really don't matter, because somebody got to win, somebody got to lose. So is Florida A&M that powerhouse that they were a couple of years ago? Probably not. Is Jackson State what they were with that other coach, that dude? No, they're not. But somebody got to win, somebody got to lose. So you throw all that out. It don't matter if they're, that powerhouse team anymore. It doesn't matter. They got to line up and play the game, So, but now, any kind of prediction on who I think going to come out on this game, look, even if I had it, I wouldn't give it, because I don't do it. I ain't going to let nobody say, oh, you was wrong. I ain't going to let them do it. That's what I do. But it's going to be a good game. And look, you pretty much can say the winner of that one is going to represent the East in the championship game. Pretty much. I just can't see it any other way around that.
Yeah, man. And I'll get you out of here on this one here, because this is what I know you can speak of the most. I know a lot of people, they talk about, the SWAC. They say the SWAC is down. They say different things about, you guys have probably heard me talk about how our quarterback play has been, our gameplay with, Lord, you saw how many penalties it was in y'all game yesterday. The Texas Southern game, it seemed like a flag every other play. Just what do you think about like the state of SWAC football right now as a whole, just according to old Unc?
Okay, now here's the thing. Unc, I don't care nothing about what you think. That's the first thing. But here's the thing. If somebody's saying the SWAC is down, my question to them is, according to what? The SWAC is the SWAC. That's just what it is. We are our own thing. Once you start comparing the SWAC to something else, the SWAC is the SWAC. All right, I'm back. Okay. The SWAC is the SWAC, period. It don't compare us to something else, right? That's just not what it is. Now here's something that I'm not 100% that this is accurate, but this is what I heard. When you talking about the penalties, we've always been a little bit undisciplined. That's just kind of what it is, right? A little bit. But now let me tell you something. These refs we dealing with right now, they out there trying to make a name. They want to be a part of the game, like the band and the players and everything else. They throwing flags that just don't even make sense, some of them, right? Now, I have been told that on last year, there were a lot of SWAC officials that moved up to higher conferences. So now we dealing with upcomers, right? They trying to go where the other ones went, right? So they trying to learn, they trying to make a name, and I'm telling you, y'all can just forget it, because those calls that you getting and you seeing, you just gonna see them. It's just gonna happen. We are the SWAC. That's where that stuff resides, in the SWAC, and that's just gonna happen. So, but all this now, quarterback play, yeah, we have not been, and of course, the transfer portal and all that kind of stuff plays into that fact. We just maybe not have the superstars that we've had in the past, right? They may get away from us, or they get lost in the shuffle of what team to what team and all that, So, no, we don't have 3 or 4 superstar quarterbacks in the conference anymore. You may not ever see that again with the transfer portal. And look, matter of fact, you may have some of the superstars, but when they start moving teams, even if they move within the SWAC, I don't care what you say, they are not going to live up to their potential. It's too much. It's too much distraction, and it's too much. You got to learn different systems. You got to learn different players. You're just not going to be that superstar you would have been if you'd have came in, learned the system, stayed with a coach, and stayed with a team. You're just not gonna have that. So yeah, I guess in a way you gotta say, yeah, that is true in a little bit, but at the same time, forget all that. Man, we are the SWAC. We deal with what's going on with the SWAC. Period.
Well said, my brother. And best of luck to you guys as you get ready to take on Southern. But before you get out of here, man, hit me one time with that catchphrase.
You know damn well.
There it is. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
We'll definitely be talking some more, brother. I appreciate you.
I'm here, baby.
All right. We'll see you, man. There's Unc, y'all. Had to get him to hit me with that one catchphrase, man. All right, so we heading on down the stretch here of the show tonight, everybody. So here's last few slides of the show. All right, here's the East standings. All right, now I know a lot of people, you probably saw the tutorial video that I had earlier this week on my 10 minutes where I talked about the way that the SWAC schedule works. We're not getting into that tonight. Y'all can watch that in your own time if you don't understand. But for those that do, you can look and you can see the standings in the SWAC. This is the East. And you can see ahead of the big matchup in Jackson this Saturday. You can see why the FAMU and Jackson game is so important to the standings. They're both undefeated in the East right now. And you can see how that goes forward. In the West, you can see why the game in Southern, in Baton Rouge, is so important this Saturday, because Alcorn and Southern are both undefeated in the West and undefeated in the SWAC overall, according to the games that they play. Now, obviously, we've got a long way to go. Most teams have 5 games left to play, and in the case of Southern, you've got 6 games left to play. But the game on Saturday is so important. All right, so those are the standings in the SWAC. And then in the MEAC, it's just early going. There's only been 1 game played in the MEAC so far. That was when North Carolina Central defeated Norfolk State when they played at the Circle City Classic. They will start their conference play full go on the 26th. So this will continue to evolve. All right. But one thing that I'm looking forward to, and many people are looking forward to in the MEAC world, on Halloween night, North Carolina Central goes on the road to face South Carolina State. We'll be talking about that game at great length next week. Now, last but not least, everybody, here are my ride tokens for the week. All right. As those who are just now tuning in, I have ride tokens. These are, I pick 2 offensive players, a couple of defensive players, and somebody on special teams. I had to go with my quarterback, Xavier Langford, because he pretty much did it all yesterday. 315 yards passing, a touchdown in the air, 15 rushes, 80 yards, 3 touchdowns in their 56-12 win over Bethune-Cookman. Good job, Xavier Langford. Giovanni Gibson, we've been calling this guy's name for the last 3 weeks. He had another stellar game. He probably should have made my list last week because he had 7 catches for 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. But my rule is you will only get a ride token if your team is victorious. All right. So now that his team was victorious and he played such a major role in their 21-17 win over Prairie View, Mr. Giovanni Gibson, you get a ride token. 9 catches, 183 yards, 1 touchdown. On defense, this is shared by the 2 gentlemen in purple there, Malachi Bailey and Kayvon Henderson. Both of them had 2 sacks, and they caused a lot of pressure for Mr. Crawley as he was running for his life most of the day yesterday. So Malachi Bailey and Kayvon Henderson, nice job to you guys, the defensive. And then also Mr. Noah Kiani with the game-winning 27-yard field goal to win the game. He gets the special teams ride token of the week. So these are the ride tokens. Congrats to these guys. And then we've got next week's schedule for everybody. So on HBCU Go, homecoming down there in Grambling. You got UAPB coming off of their win, heading on down to the hole. We'll see what happens with Grambling. There's been some rumblings that perhaps there could be a change at quarterback or there could be a quarterback rotation. But in any event, UAPB will come in hot. Homecoming also in Itta Bena as Mississippi Valley State hosts Bethune-Cookman. Both teams 0-6. Somebody's going to get on the board in this one. That'll be on the SWAC Digital Network. The big one in Jackson will be on ESPNU. You've got FAMU coming on down to take on Jackson State. This is a big one. I know people are going to talk about it a lot this week, and we'll have some picks made this week. And then lastly, the big one in Baton Rouge on ESPN Plus, another homecoming game, will be Alcorn going down to take on Southern. In the MEAC, a very light slate next week. You've got Fort Valley State going to take on South Carolina State. And then you've got homecoming in D.C., a very, very nice matchup. Tennessee State, who is 5-2, and they won yesterday over Eastern Illinois. They won their homecoming game. They take their show on the road. They go to D.C. to take on the Howard Bison. All right, so those are all of the games that are coming up next week. And then last but not least, I want to bring your attention to something that we're going to be doing this week. It is the return of Thursday Night Rivals. And this week in Thursday Night Rivals, we have a tag team affair. We got Devin Holt and GSPN. Shout out to G out there from representing Alcorn. And then they're going to go up against J Max and Al representing Southern. And you can see they're going for the heavyweight championship of the SWAC West to the midseason. So that'll be coming up this Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. And you can look for more of this to be put out there. We'll make sure everybody gets the link and all that different kind of stuff. And yeah, like he said, prepare yourself. Definitely prepare yourself. So I want everybody, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, man, because we're doing some big things on this show every week. You know, my formula, every week, somebody else is going to grace these airwaves. And we definitely going to bring you the best and the greatest from the SWAC and the MEAC and also other things that may be significant in HBCU sports. So I'm Wild Wayne Cartwright. I'll be back next week. I enjoyed everybody tonight, and shout out to my boy Elvin Crisp, and thanks for joining on the ride.